You ready for this?
I'm ready. We're gonna get this on camera. That is so sick. Oh wow.
Before we show you the full Colored PPF wrap on Andy Sly's Model Y, we gotta start at the beginning.
This step is not optional if you want to make sure your wrap lasts for a long time. So we're gonna go ahead and do all the prep, remove crucial areas, and we're gonna show you exactly how to do it. Let me just show you why paint protection is important. So this has like 700 miles, brand new car. Literally drove it from Kentucky to Chattanooga. And already right here, there is a chip from a rock right over here. You see that little thing? Here's the thing, clear, matte or gloss will show up. Colored PPF will still bulge a little bit, right? But at the same time, we're gonna prevent more things like that from ever happening again with, you know, a colored PPF or PPF in general. So this is kind of like, I think the reason for it. Like vinyl is cool, you can make this red, but it won't protect the car the same way that colored PPF will. Yep, and then all this bug guts, go away. So one of the first steps that we do is, I think we've talked a little bit about our prep process, but you actually don't want to put a mitt on the car right away. You actually just want to use water. And this is a high pressure. It's only about 1800 PSI, so it's really not that bad. You really don't want to go too high of a PSI because then it might damage the paint. But basically with the water, you're getting rid of things like in the front, like you saw, a bunch of bug guts or whatever, poop, all this stuff off first. Because think about it, if you put a mitt and then you rub it all around, those things are going to go to your mitt and then it can scratch the car. So yes, we are covering this up, but at the same time, we want to minimize the amount of scratches. So then basically I'll do this rinse pretty thoroughly. And then basically I'll do a foam cannon. I'll leave it, I'll rinse it, I'll do another foam cannon. And I'll basically wash it. I'll do a decontamination with an iron remover. Try to get the iron off the surface of the car. And basically getting it to what it would have been like straight out of the factory. Because if you have a better prep surface, your life is going to be way easier, whether you do vinyl, colored PPF, or really anything in general. We're even going to do a clay bar. So this is still a new car. Doesn't mean that you can skip it. You want to avoid, you know, any nibbles or anything sort of contamination on the surface. So that's exactly what we're doing right now. So what this does as well is, you probably saw me get around the wheel well and stuff. I'm just trying to not introduce any more dirt when I'm actually back inside and wrapping the car. So at this part, what the soap does and the heavy foam, and just a quick tip, to get this heavy, you want to use hot water and a lot of soap to get it kind of heavy foam. But basically, once you do that, it encapsulates the dirt. I know that's a big word, and basically brings the dirt down, and then when I rinse it, it gets it down. And it basically, again, avoids any sort of contamination to be on the surface when I'm using my mitt. So further prevention of scratches. So typically, you want to go in lines like that, flip it, less risk of damaging. I typically wait the bottom for last, but because I did such a heavy, you know, decon, it should be fine. But typical practice is you do things like the bottom last, because that's actually the dirtiest area. So you can see I kind of flip my microfiber. I'm not really putting much force, actually. I'm just literally gliding. Another thing about this setup is that there's an actual, basically a deionizer and basically a filter, which means that there's almost no minerals. This is actually cleaner than drinking water, and it's like 5 particles per minute ppm, which is like very, very low mineral content. So if you're wondering why sometimes when you wash your car, you get some water spots and like that, that's actually because there's minerals inside the water. Most normal water will have a good amount of mineral content, sometimes as high as 200. So when I do it this way, and I'm basically rinsing it off, it actually won't have any water spots because it's a very, very clean water. And that's a very important step for shops So if you don't have this though, what I would recommend is rinse it down a little bit more often, dry it pretty quickly, try to work on the shade. Today, right now, at this time, we don't have a shade, but doing it in the shade is going to be very, very helpful so that you don't have to do it in like, you know, sections or anything like that. All right, so we got it basic clean, but we're gonna go ahead and do some removals. So basically, we want to start with these. It's like being a chiropractor. I just try to find loose. There you go. And then once one of them is loose, you can get the rest, just like that. There we go. Okay, so once you get here, one thing is that there's actually a little clip that I forgot to remove. So there we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this up. And then typically, just wanna run your hand in there. These are so much easier than it used to be, just so you know. Here's one thing I forgot to do. I'm gonna put this on service mode. When you're actually working on the cars, it'll kind of trip, right? It'll have issues and stuff like that. And when I mean trip, when you put it back, like the cameras might not work right away and you have to reset it. So in order to basically fix that, you put everything on service mode. And to do that, let me just hide. Wow, this one has 800 miles, that's it. There we go, you just put service, and boom, enter, and then now you're on service mode. And that's it. There we go. We are going to be using a lot of water, right? Because this is going to be wet installation. So what I do like to do is just kind of protect the cables a little bit. And it's not waterproofing at all, but it does protect it. I do fold over itself. So later on, it's easier for me. And just fold it in and just tuck it right in. Typically, if you're just kind of starting, you want to be a little bit more careful and just tape it so you can't really damage anything. Basically, you're going to be able to grab this teeth, kind of release it. Then you can and once you get under, I remove this. You don't have to, but basically it just kind of goes in right here and it snaps in. You see that? And it has a nice little snap. And the way that it's interesting is like one of them have just a pinch on the top and the bottom, and this one right here and this one right here actually have a pinch in 3 different areas. So it's extremely hard, even if you go to the backside to pinch it with your fingers, or even getting something like a nose head plier, it's still incredibly difficult, even if you have small hands. So this technique right here that we kind of figured out is awesome. All you have to do is basically slide this in right here. You see that right here? There's actually 2 little, you see this little ball right here? That's where it's sliding into. So you just kind of go in here and you just go straight in, and then you will be able to actually put it in with those Torx right here. There's 2 screws right there. So we're gonna leave this, since we're gonna be wrapping it, right over here. One of the things that we're doing is we're actually doing an 80 to 90% DIY kit, meaning our kit that we're actually gonna sell to everybody else. But when I say 80 to 90%, there's a couple areas that I think for Andy's car, we're actually not going to do DIY. One of them is actually this right here. The 2-piece actually looks great, but I wanted his car to be a 1-piece, so we're actually gonna do a bulk method. But what that means is I'm gonna loosen this up. So what's interesting about this, and if you didn't know, the reason why they did that as a separate piece is so many people were doing this and hitting their garage door. So if they actually damaged their trunk, they had to replace the whole thing, and it was costing them a lot of money. It was making Tesla Service Center really, really busy by replacing those trunk latches, or not latches, sorry, the trunk hatches. So basically, I think it's genius that they actually did that. So basically right here, there's 2, one right here. I'm just gonna loosen this up. Kind of hard to see. And then this one right here as well. It's just 4 screws, 2 each side. And that is it, guys. That's incredible. And all I'm doing, guys, is I'm just loosening it up. I'm gonna still leave it there. It is still incredibly hard to remove it. There is a lot of clips from here to the other side. So one other thing is the back part is actually quite beefier, and then the front one is actually a lot smaller. So if you're putting it back, that's something to remember. The front, meaning closer to the front of the vehicle, is going to be much smaller screw. Okay, so now I got it loosened. Check this out. So I'm going to go ahead and lower this. And you can see, now that I've loosened it, look how much play I have right here. I can really get some good corner coverage. I can get some corner coverage on this side, and I could also kind of lift this up a little bit to get underneath that area. There you go. So everything starts falling in place, and then you could just go straight up. And you can see now I have full coverage right here. All right, so there's a couple areas, no broken clips. One thing to keep in mind is this did not come out right here. So be very careful because it has to go back right here. Well, that's actually a lot more insulation than I remember. So basically at this point, there's actually just 3 bolts right here. So just so you know, in our kit, it's not going to require you to do this. I think it's going to be too hard, honestly. It's the last 10 mil, and then after that, you got to make sure you disconnect the mirror right here, which is right over here, and then there's an actual clip right here. There you go. Just like that, and this should come up, which it did. And there you go. There it is. The mirror is out. It'll be a little hard at first. All right, when you bring this down, you're gonna be actually revealing kind of like that. And then within here, this is new. Well, that sucks for me, but there we go. Wow, so this is actually quite new. That wasn't there before. So this is actually for sound insulation. So basically once you reveal this and this, there's actually a bunch of Torx all over there. So and it just goes all the way around, all the way to the front right here. You see that? And then some areas, it actually has this black trim right here. It's just like a clip, basically. All right, so then after that, you basically do the same thing. You do need to remove both. So this thing right here, just kind of pull it down. And then, and I'm gonna go forward towards you, okay? Towards you.
Am I pulling?
Wait, hold on. Something's still stuck. Oh, it's this thing right here. And then, yep, that's it. If you don't take it out this way, it actually is inside this. So it's like a ring inside in the second ring. So if you pull it too hard, it goes out of this, and it sucks putting that one back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this. This is metal, so let's try not bending it. If you don't do the prep, don't even start the install. It doesn't make sense. It won't last. It won't stick. So make sure you do a very, very thorough prep before you do any sort of install, okay? So just so you know, for the DIY wrap that we will be doing, you don't have to do as much of a disassembly that we did for Andy's car. A couple things that I think we removed that you wouldn't as a DIYer are some of these trims right here. We wanted to get full coverage there. And an easier coverage, remove the charge port area on the other side because we're still testing some of our designs. We removed the mirrors. You shouldn't have to remove that for the DIY kit. And that's pretty much it. We might remove this little tailgate area. But here's the thing. For the DIY kit, I don't think I want to make that an option because it's actually really hard to remove that. But we will tell people to actually loosen this up, which is just literally 2 Torx screws right here on each side. So Once you're done with all the prep, we're gonna do a final wipe down on this, and we are gonna lay the first panel, which is gonna be the hood. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. This was a fun prep. We still have a lot of work to do, so let's get right into it.